This week's History of the Known World is again brought to you by Skiddly-Doo's amazing multi-use boots. I use Skiddly-Doo's. I do a lot of traveling on my adventures trying to discover what is this world that we live in, and those long journeys often face travels through the wilderness, the forests of our castor, or through the long treks that are rocky and hilly. In those cases, what do? Simply by using Skiddly-Doo's one-click button, I'm able to improve my grip on whatever terrain that I may face. I hope that Skiddly-Doo's amazing multi-use boots are a regular part of your gear when you're taking long trips. Just remember the jingle. If you're planning to use a boot other than Skiddly-Doo's, just Skiddly-Don't. My name is Professor Wimbleshades, and this is History of the Known World. Thank you for joining me again to listen to Mythmander's wonderful vignettes, things that he calls card stories. This is episode 5 from Tales of the Tumult, Season 1, Amongst the Confluence. All in. Days fell into weeks, fell into months. Forests and mountains and grassy hills blended until I could no longer tell them apart. Like a child bored by constant travel, I began to ignore what was around me and look for ways to keep aware, and soon found it in my stories. By then, the few stories had grown into hundreds, some of them completely new stories I had made up myself, as much as a story could be completely made up. My father and uncle soon expected that I would share them daily, and I worked hard to make new ones each night. Before I would let myself drowse, I would think of tomorrow's beginning, and once satisfied, I would soon be asleep. Each afternoon, after we had eaten and were weary from the path, when the exhaustion and food had lulled us into a rest that was not far from sleep, I would start at the beginning, and before long my uncle would help me shape what followed. Sometimes when my uncle was particularly tired, when I felt that the end was near, my father would begin to pack up, and even might say it was time to go. But if my uncle was particularly tired, and the story had not been very long, he would continue and ask for more, and the Baron would take over, even if we had begun our walk. Those stories might last an hour, as my uncle continued his questions, and I kept answering. Only when my father would pick up the pace, and it had become too tiring to talk, would the story end. But even then, with my father driving a hard pace, we walked with smiles and a vigor that we had not had all day up to that point. When I try thinking back on the days with my uncle, those are the days I remember most.